comforted me. Silly boy, what does this have to do with you? Julian saved you because he cares about you. Julian said impatiently. Who cares about him? I was just afraid that if he died, those two old scoundrels would get what they wanted. My mother glared at him. Julian, is that how you talk to your brother? The couple's gaze then turned back to me. Ethan, you must have been terrified. Do you want to go to your room and rest? We'll look after Julian. I nodded obediently. I knew that next, the family would discuss their countermeasures and prepare to settle scores. My presence might hinder their planning. The first thing I did after returning to my room was make a phone call. I need a full background check on Silas Astor and Mr. Coleman, especially their gray area businesses. The more detailed, the better. I want all their leverage. Also, start infiltrating our people into the country. Be subtle. The Astors are very vigilant. Although the Astor family was powerful enough to cover the sky in New York, there were always blind spots. I could lend a hand when needed. By the time the family finished their discussion, it was already evening. Mr. White sat next to Julian, and seeing no one else around, he lowered his voice and asked, Mr. Julian, why did you risk your life to protect the young master? You know, a slight misstep and you could have been killed. Even though I was the legitimate Astor heir, he had followed Julian for years, and his loyalty naturally lay with him. Julian said, I was the one who took him out. Even though I informed Mom and Dad, I'm still responsible. If one of us had to be hurt or killed, they would probably prefer it to be me. Julian knew very well why the Astor family had raised him. For them, it was always business over sentiment, but he didn't mind. They had given him more than enough. In just over a decade, he had built his own power base and network. And this time, his parents were very pleased, and he had gotten what he wanted. What was a small injury? It wasn't like it would last a lifetime. Julian said, I will be the Astor family's sharpest blade. Mr. White wanted to say more, but Julian cut him off. Enough, there's no point in discussing this. What's important now is how to root out all the spies those two old bastards have planted around us. Mr. White nodded, then scrolled through his phone and showed it to Julian. Sir, I had my people suppress all the news, but it still got out. It was probably Mr. Coleman's doing. Julian mused. So all the other families have heard the news? That's perfect. It gives me an excuse to rest for a few days and avoid socializing. Decline all invitations for me. If they try to visit under the guise of checking on me, don't let anyone in unless they're close. My mother sat down next to me. Ethan, there's something else we need to discuss with you. You've been back for a while now. It's time for you to be formally recognized by the family. What are your thoughts on the recognition ceremony? I thought for a moment and said, if we can skip the ceremony, let's. I prefer to keep a low profile for now. I don't want my face all over the media. My mother frowned, concerned. Skip it? Wouldn't that be unfair to you? I smiled. What's there to be unfair about? Knowing that you, Dad, and my sisters care for me is enough. A ceremony doesn't change that. Besides, I'll have plenty of opportunities to meet people in your circle by following Julian around. I don't need this one event. The couple discussed it briefly and didn't insist further. All right, we'll do as you say. Later, when all the Astors are gathered, we'll hold a private ceremony for you internally. The very next morning, Chloe showed up. No matter how much Julian refused to see her, she wouldn't leave. Julian was exasperated. Help me up. I want to see what she's up to. He then deliberately stalled for half an hour before letting Mrs. Gable help him slowly down the stairs. Chloe had been waiting for a long time. Julian asked irritably, Miss Sterling, to what do I owe the honor of your personal visit? Chloe pushed a gift towards him. I brought you something good, of course. Open it, you'll like it. But Julian made no move to take it. It's just a gift. Next time, you don't have to come in person. Chloe said, I couldn't do that. My conscience wouldn't be clear until I saw you were all right. Julian smiled. Spit it out. Why are you really here at the Astor estate? Before, she couldn't get far enough away from him. Why would she visit in person now? Chloe said, to bury the hatchet with you, of course. Julian looked at her warily. Bury the hatchet? And then what? Chloe asked. And then, is your older brother home? Julian's expression was one of I knew it. He's not. Mrs. Gable, show her out. Chloe was once again honorably escorted out. After getting rid of her, Julian leisurely opened the gift, only to find it was an empty box, all for show. Chloe hadn't even bothered to stuff it with some foam to make it look full. He stared at it for a long time before noticing a few pieces of paper at the bottom. He took them out and examined them closely, realizing it was evidence of Mr. Coleman's collusion with the Azure Dragons. She had managed to find this before the Astor family? He didn't have time to think too much about it. He would accept this favor. His eyes hardened, and his expression suddenly became serious. At that moment, Silas watched Mr. Coleman, who had come running for refuge, with a sarcastic smile. "So you come running to me now that things have gone south? Who would have thought the Azure Dragons were a bunch of incompetents? They claim to be sharpshooters," Mr. Coleman said, feeling humiliated just thinking about it. "But at least we know the entire Astor family is protecting Ethan like he's a treasure. He's their only weakness. I hear they've all gathered now, probably about to come settle the score with us. We've been fighting in the shadows for so long. It's time for a real confrontation. If we drag this out any longer and let Marcus's children grow stronger, we'll lose our chance completely." Silas nodded. "Then let's stick to our original plan. A direct confrontation is out of the question. We'll take them down one by one." Mr. Coleman said, "We can't wait. Send our people now. We have to act before the others get back. If that couple finds the evidence and comes after us first, we won't be able to handle it." Waking up late again, I found the vast mansion strangely empty, with only me left, so I asked Mrs. Gable about everyone's whereabouts. Mrs. Gable answered honestly, "Young master, the master and madam are investigating yesterday's attack on you and Mr. Julian. The 3 young mistresses are also helping. The whole family was mobilized. This time they were serious." I continued, "And Julian? Miss Sterling from the Sterling family visited a short while ago. Afterwards, Mr. Julian and Mr. White left in a hurry. What was Chloe doing here? Could she have said something that made them rush out like that? She said she came to visit Mr. Julian and brought a gift." My expression grew serious. My parents and sisters had left at the same time, one after another, as if prearranged, but they hadn't gone to the same place. This meant they had suddenly received some crucial information that required them to handle it personally, and they had split up to do so. After asking these questions, I went straight back to my room and immediately made another call. "Mobilize everyone in the intel department. Track the movements of every Astor family member, especially the 2 I told you to focus on yesterday. Report any unusual activity to me immediately. Be quick." How could there be such a coincidence? The entire family had split up and left, knowing I had no self-defense skills and that Julian was injured. If it was a coincidence, fine. But what if someone had deliberately lured them away? My eyes narrowed, a familiar cold light glinting within them. I took a moment to compose my emotions and tone, then called my parents and sisters one by one to complain, using an innocent voice to protest that Julian had snuck out, leaving me all alone at home. Their reactions were all, without exception, ones of surprise, followed by worry. They also realized the gravity of the situation. "Ethan, we're coming back right away to be with you, and we'll deal with him." Of course, their real concern was ensuring Julian's safety. But just over 10 minutes later, Julian and Mr. White returned, safe and sound. I was a little surprised to see them. Had I been overthinking things? The first thing Julian saw when he walked in was me. He snorted without ceremony. "I was only out for a little while, and you've already learned to tattle? Someone is really annoying." I didn't deny it. It seemed he had already been in contact with our parents. As long as nothing had happened, it was fine. As for my parents and sisters, they had all rushed back, afraid someone had deliberately lured them away to make a move on the 2 of us. After all, this was a critical time. Once they were home, they all breathed a sigh of relief and didn't say much more. The family had a peaceful lunch together, but then they had to leave again, instructing the 2 of us to stay put at home. The Astor estate was now very secure. The pests had mostly been cleaned out. The reason they had to go in person was that the information and evidence they had received were all genuine, and they needed to strike while the iron was hot, leaving no room for Silas and Mr. Coleman to recover. I received a message from my subordinates confirming that the information my parents and sisters had and their destinations were legitimate, so I let it be. It was only after they left that Julian called Mr. White over. "The information Chloe gave us was a huge help. Go and apprehend them now, according to the plan we just discussed." Earlier, the 2 of them had gone to verify the information themselves. To avoid alerting the enemy, they only took 2 or 3 bodyguards, and they actually managed to find one of Mr. Coleman's secret bases. Unfortunately, they were short-handed, and then my parents called, forcing them to return. The main reason Julian didn't mention this was that he felt his parents and sisters had important matters of their own to attend to and shouldn't be distracted. I sat at my computer for an hour, but the house felt too quiet. I suddenly had the urge to see what Julian was up to. However, I found his room empty, and he was nowhere else to be found. I called for Mrs. Gable again. "Did Julian go out again?" "Yes, young master. Mr. Julian specifically told me not to inform you, afraid you would complain again." I felt a headache coming on. Why was he so disobedient? He was injured, yet he was still running around with Mr. White. Mr. White was more than capable. There was no need for Julian to risk himself by personally overseeing things. Did Julian go out with Mr. White? Mr. White left first.